So now I'd love to walk you through what has contributed to us being able to make love in this way. Like, what unlocks the capacity to have this level of sex? And the first piece that we've already talked about is Kundalini energy. Because it is true that when you unlock Kundalini energy, sex becomes more energetic, more powerful, more potent, and more sensitive in a way. It really does take sex to a new level. Now, that's not why people awaken Kundalini energy, but it is one awesome side effect. Thank you, Goddess. So, Kundalini energy, if you don't know, and we talk about this in episode 3 a lot, so you can also check that out, episode 3 on Why Isn't Everyone Doing This, Emily Fletcher's podcast. Kundalini energy is embodied consciousness, and it is an energetic activation. So I know it through my tradition in which I awoken it, which was Tantra. And in that tradition, Kundalini, this life force energy, is worshipped as goddess consciousness. So it's actually embodied consciousness waking up. So if you think about when you meditate and you're activating consciousness, there's also a consciousness to the entire world, to our bodies. It's Shakti activation, Shakti awakening. Kunda, it's cognate with coiled, because it starts coiled and wrapped around traditionally around the tailbone, the coccyx, and activates from there. In certain traditions and traditions that I teach from in a woman, it actually starts from the cervix and the cervical area. And as this energy awakens, what it's designed to do is to both offer deeper spiritual realization and experiences, but also it systematically prepares your nervous system and body to sustain deeper and deeper states of spiritual awareness. Because to sustain spiritual awareness is actually a high energy state. And so a lot of us are leaking energy through our blockages, through our childhood traumas and wounding, through past life issues, through chronic contraction and stress physiologically. So when Kundalini activates, it actually starts systematically removing those blockages out of your system. It literally clears the way for you to have more embodied states of spiritual awakening. Now, here's the thing. You can spiritually awaken to your true nature at any time. What's amazing about Kundalini is it allows you to sustain that spiritual awakening through the human experience. And it does that by literally preparing your body and nervous system to be able to live spiritual reality through the body. And so a lot of phenomenon of Kundalini awakening, the body shaking, the body unwinding, the body having energetic and healing releases is actually the wisdom of Kundalini working through us and unwinding the body so that we can relax deeper and deeper, have less of a psychic load from the past, and we can be literally more present in our somatic reality. This allows our embodied reality to match more of our spiritual consciousness. It's so powerful. It's so beautiful. It's so sacred. Now, what happens when Kundalini energy first starts to awaken is if we don't have a spiritual practice to allow it, right? This can be hatha yoga. It can be plant medicine practices. It can be breath work. It can be meditation. It can be qigong. We will actually, by habit, repress the energy, because prior to the awakening, we actually have a psychological structure that bears down on our energy and literally locks it in place. So instead of a free flow of aliveness and spiritual flow, we're living in a state of contraction. And so what Kundalini energy will do is it will actually unwind that contraction in our bodies so that we can allow the free flow of energy. So me and Emily have both individually done spiritual practices for close to 20 years. So what that means is that we have prepared our bodies and our nervous systems to be able to sustain a high level of energy activation and flow. That's not something that happens overnight. So clearing the way with spiritual practices is super important, not only for a Kundalini activation, but to be able to allow energy to flow through your body during any practice, during any movement, but especially during sex. What would you say has deeply contributed to you being able to allow Kundalini energy and life force energy to flow through you at that level in sex?
I'd say it's maybe three main things. First and foremost, certainly my meditation practice.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been every day for 16 years now. So twice a day for 16 years.
Yeah.
I meditate, and yes, I've missed here or there a month after my son was born, but like by and large, twice a day, no matter what, I practice dying, right? Like that's really what it is. You're transcending the individuality and accessing totality, and in that dissolving, there is a softening, right? And so when that, or you know, the wave reminds itself that it is the ocean, and when you come back from the totality back into the individuality, you're not exclusively the wave anymore. You can't pretend that you're just the body anymore. Your body remembers that you're actually the ocean. You know, you remember that you're actually God. And so that has certainly cleared the way and made the soil fertile for these seeds of sacred sexuality to be planted. And thank you so much for initiating me in so many of these practices. The work that I've done with you, learning sex magic, now being in Vita coaching and de-armoring and doing trauma work and actively going after and being excited when I discover trauma, because I'm like, oh good, I get to reclaim this for my own life force now instead of it sucking my own energy. And then I'd say the third ingredient is that I have been singing and dancing and acting since I was 8 years old. So, you know, tap, jazz, ballet, voice lessons, and using my body as an instrument for music, for dance, for catharsis, for theater. And so there is a level of, you know, now everyone's into somatic processing and therapy, but that was not always the way. But I have been dancing with my emotions since I was 8. I have been physically dancing since I was 8, using my voice. And these practices that you do, the same tools that you need to get relaxed and open enough to be a vessel, to be a good performer, are pretty much the exact same practices that you need to be open and available to be a vessel for sex.
I had a Tantra teacher who actually said the only place where Tantric wisdom was preserved in the European traditions was in theater.